Well, it's that time of year, and one of the only videos I get excited about making, leaked specs. Why? Well, because gear doesn't get sent out anymore, and guess what? We can have some fun and talk about it beforehand, and then analyze how good or bad it was. But, once again, I only do this stuff if I feel confident about the information that's pretty much confirmed and heard, and a lot of it's already online. So let's just talk about the upcoming Sony camera, the Sony A7 IV. Now, I'm sure a lot of us are aware, especially if you're looking into this Sony Alpha line right here, is that the Sony A7 III was a very, very popular camera. I was out at the Sony event for it, and it was a humongous launch, and it was pretty much the camera of the year, whenever was that 2016, 2017, whenever that came out, or whatever year that came out. It was such a good camera. It was a great size. It could tackle a ton of different genres within the niche, professionally, more amateur, hobby, etc. And it was at like a $2,000 price range. You can get that still for like $1,800. So it's a great price. The price was also alluring for it. There was a lot for it. So now we have the upcoming, which you'll hear about shortly anyway, the A7 IV. But the big thing that we're already hearing is the price is jacked up. Now, I guess we can expect the prices to rise on things because of everything over the past, year and a half or so, and chip shortages and stuff like that. So everyone's trying to recoup a bit of money. But that's kind of the big thing about this one, is that $2,000, $1,800 is the perfect mark for this line of camera in the line. It's going to be about $2,500 to $2,700 US dollars. So that's probably going to be a big throw off to some people. But yet again, if you could justify the extra $500, I don't think it's going to be bad for that. But there are some pretty decent upgrades that it seems like. But it doesn't seem like this 4 blows me away as much as the 3 did on launch, in hand or not. But they are making a new 33 megapixel sensor, which is a boost up from the 24 megapixels that the Sony A7 III had. So that's obviously going to be a big thing. The difference is they're kind of changing up the body style a little bit, and that's a little bit of something to look out for as well. And it's going to really kind of resemble the A7S III, more or less. So you're going to have more of a grip. It's not going to be as spherical or whatever. Grip was a little bit of a complaint with the A7 III to an extent, even though I like the form factor of that. So you're going to have that. You're going to have which is now standard, which I appreciate and applaud Sony for doing now for years, is the fully articulating screen. So that way you can, vlog, do whatever you want, shoot videos, create content, whatever. You know what they're used for at this point. So that's obviously a big thing. They expanded their buffer for JPEGs. If you care about that at all, it's like over $800 that you can, rapidly fire before filling up. So if that's a big deal for you, that's something that you're going to do. But one of the things that also, and it's coming into all their cameras basically, but now that the A7 III is a couple years old, we're getting the A7 IV with a bunch of basically all of the newest to date autofocus technology. That's the animal tracking one, the improved eye, face, AF, and all that kind of stuff. So that's, a good selling point is the updated autofocus, even though the A7 III was really good in its time as well. They just had a lot of updates to it. But what's the biggest thing a lot of people kind of look for, even though they don't really use it? 4K video. Obviously, we'll have 4K video. The A7 III went up to 4K at basically 30 frames per second, but you're getting 4K at 60 frames a second, and the 4K is basically getting sampled down, so that's how they're getting it, but you're able to do 60 frames a second. And the biggest thing here that's being touted, and Panasonic has been doing this as well, is about streaming, like live streaming. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, however you choose to stream. I stream on Twitch, so I'm more into the field now about streaming, but now it's the touting of we do 4K, stream in 4K, your camera's in 4K. Let me tell you all about the streaming stuff. No one's doing 4K. The hosts and servers, you're not shooting 4K on Twitch, YouTube, etc. You're not doing it. It's actually, your computer will probably blow up for the most part. Exaggerating, of course, but that's not a thing. Way over touted, but they are saying they will do. But the 4K is also only 15 frames per second if you're going to use it for live streaming. But that being said, you can still do full 1080p at 60 frames, which is way more expected. You don't have to put additional stress on your computer for absolutely no reason. Something that's going to be more your face cam at 1080. So there you go. You'll have that. Basically overblown for the most part. So we won't really get into that. And while we're on the kind of the features on the body design, it will actually have a full-size HDMI port, which is a big deal. Going from a micro, I believe the Sony A7 III had, to now the 4 with a actual HDMI slot. Everyone should have full at this point. I don't see the need for micro, in my opinion. I get that it saves space, but yeah. To really kind of wrap it up, you're going to have 5.5 stops of in-body image stabilization. So you can say gimbal-like. I'm sure you're going to hear that a lot. And one of the last things, instead of going from a dual SD card slot system, you're now going to go to SD and CF Express. So your higher frame video is going to be a little bit easier to read. Still don't think you need it, especially in this type of camera, but I guess if you're paying more of a premium than you should, I guess you should have that capabilities, even though those memory cards aren't necessarily cheaper. So that's basically what we got with the Sony A7 IV. I don't know. It doesn't blow me away. Once again, not a lot of gear nowadays, besides the Ricoh GR3X that just came out, and that was basically just a lens upgrade. But I was very excited when I heard about that. A7 III, was very excited to hear about that, but the A7 IV, I don't know. I guess it seems okay, but nothing to really blow my ankle socks off. But let me know your thoughts down below. Is this something you'd expect in an upgrade? It's already been a couple years. It was due for an upgrade, or is it really just kind of like a weird hodgepodge of stuff? If anything, the A7 III is going to get cheaper. Maybe look into that.